Welcome to the DigiKnow Podcast, episode 4, where today we ask the question, did you know what micro moments are? Now, today is also day 6 of me suffering from vertigo, so if everybody could make the room stop spinning for a few minutes and we get through this, I would greatly appreciate that. And on that note, it's time for a story. So approximately a year and a half ago, I was at a meeting with a national top 25 dealer. I won't name who, and all the big wigs were in the room, and everybody was talking about micro moments, and making sure that you're optimizing your Google paid search campaigns for the micro moments. And everybody in the room was talking about it like they knew what they were talking about and chiming in on the conversation like they knew what they were talking about. And I was a little bit nervous that I was the only one in the room who did not know what they were talking about, but I couldn't let that on. So I just smiled and nodded for about an hour through the whole meeting, acting like I knew what was going on. And it was in that moment I realized I better get boned up and learn what micro moments is. So, to that end, if any of you don't know what micro moments are, you're about to get a crash course. We'll make it very simple. Simply put, optimizing your SEM campaigns for the micro moment is basically making sure that you are taking advantage of people who are lower in the sales funnel and are actively looking to buy your product now, and make sure that your ads appear in front of them. Because at the end of the day, I've never met an advertiser who has an unlimited advertising budget. As a result, we want to make sure that we put most of our money towards the low-hanging fruit as possible, right? So obviously at Chumney & Associates, we are in the automotive vertical, and I'll give an automotive example. But again, micro moments transcend industries. They transcend verticals. And I'll give some examples of that as well. But first, we pause to recognize our sponsor. Chumney & Associates. If you sell cars, we'll make your ads. Chumney & Associates. We make car ads. Back to micro moments on the DigiKnow Podcast, episode 4. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, iHeartRadio Podcast. You can follow us at Chumney_ads, at Paul M. Harvey 14. So micro moments. So as I said, I was in this meeting. I realized I better learn what this is. So let me give a automotive example. Let's say, for argument's sake, a customer goes on to Google and they do a search for a Honda Accord. You obviously, as a Honda dealer, want to appear for that search, I'm sure. But that is also a very high funnel search the customer is making. That is what we would call a research search, where they are kind of researching the car, maybe learning, the different features and specs that vehicle has to offer compared to other vehicles of similar class they might be cross-shopping against. So it doesn't mean that as a Honda dealership, you don't want your ad to appear when somebody searches Honda Accord. It just means it's more of a high funnel search. Whereas that same customer goes on Google and they search Honda Accord lease deals near Stuart, Florida. Okay? Obviously, that is a much lower in the funnel search. Somebody would not do a search like that if they weren't actively looking to lease that car relatively soon, or maybe right now. And not only that, they're looking for a lease deal near where they live because they are much lower in the funnel. So again, you as the advertiser, in this case, you're a Honda dealer, you obviously want to appear for both searches. The high funnel search, Honda Accord, and the low funnel search, Honda Accord lease deals near Stuart, Florida. The key though is, with your budget, don't treat both searches equally. You want to make sure that you are optimizing your campaigns. You're optimizing your budget for the lower funnel searches first and foremost. And that lower funnel search is what we call a micro moment. So let's say you got $1. Don't put 50 cents onto the high funnel Honda Accord search and 50 cents onto the low funnel Honda Accord lease deals near Stuart, Florida search. Instead, you might want to put 75 or 80 cents towards that low funnel micro moment lease deal search, and maybe 20, 25 cents towards that high funnel research search Honda Accord, if that makes sense. So if you've ever been in a meeting like I was and people were talking about micro moments and you didn't know what they were talking about, now you do. Now, how does this transcend verticals? Well, let's say you're a furniture store. Let's say you're a mattress store. Same concept. Go on Google, and Google the search new king size mattress. See what you get. Then try Googling new king-size mattress sales offers near me and see what you get. Especially if you're a mom and pop shop. If you're not a big chain, if you're not a big national distributor, if you're not a big national company, maybe you're a local mom and pop furniture store. Maybe you're a local mom and pop pizza parlor. Okay? And you can't afford to compete with the big national advertisers or the big franchises, making sure you put most of your money into those lower funnel searches that we call micro moments is a great way to maximize your dollar while taking advantage of conversion opportunities. Makes sense? Makes sense to me now. Did you know what micro moments were? You probably did, but in case you didn't, now you do. This was DigiKnow Podcast, episode 4, with me and the Buffalo in the studio. We appreciate you watching us or listening to us. Again, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, YouTube. Follow us at Chumney_ads. Follow me at Paul M. Harvey 14. Appreciate you watching or listening. We'll see you next time.